By the way, it's not a bad idea. Remember I mentioned cerebrolysin to you before when we talked?
So I
So
was just going to ask you when you were just talking about the neurons and the
yeah.
brain. I
So
was
think
just going
about
to
this.
ask
Like
you about that.
if you're currently chelating the mercury, I assume the mercury has to get out of the intracellular, the cells in the brain. Now, obviously, the chelator is not passing, but it's reducing a lot of the bloodstream mercury, which over time, sometime the ions may pass. I don't know how it happens, but it gets rid of mercury in the brain. My assumption, though, is when it does so, there probably is acute toxicity there in the brain also, not just in the kidneys. If so, cerebrolysin is the most neuroprotective compound on earth. Like it's like taking growth hormone, but for your brain, and the feeling is very similar. Also, cerebrolysin across all studies lowers inflammatory markers in the brain. Also, another thing that you may want to look into that particularly lowers inflammation in the brain is naltrexone. It's called low dose naltrexone therapy. Maybe a couple of things you could consider and the other thing about cerebrolysin is you may notice a rejuvenative effect in the brain. It may reduce inflammation so much that you may notice a benefit in a couple of weeks, I think.
Well, I still
Happens
have a
sometimes to
lot
people.
of that from the protocol you told me. So I'm gonna like start that tonight because that's like my training's going good now. Well, as good as it can go. My pumps are slowly coming back. I'm able to train without losing weight, staying a little bit fuller. I'm getting stronger. Now it's just like getting the. I know it's gonna take time to heal. My body's healing. That's why I don't want to jump on any crazy cycles or anything either. But it's mainly just getting my brain function back to where I can fully just be like my old self. Would be like just things just come to me like that.
It takes some time. I've had the depersonalization before, and I've had some of those deep problems, and it takes time. If you're in the right path, your brain recovers. We have agile brains, and they even when they appear to be not working, there's always something called cognitive reserve. Which shows up in a lot of academic papers. Like you'll see a lot of brains that 70% of them should not be functioning, but the person appears normal. And then we call that cognitive reserve. Because of plasticity, your brain can reorganize itself,
And Leo, what's the worst thing that can happen with somebody with mercury poisoning if they don't catch it?
Death. It's
Really?
acutely fatal. Yeah. See, that's the problem. Most people, probably like Dom, think, oh, fish is bad. If I eat a lot of it, I'm going to die from mercury poisoning. It's not, they don't think like there's levels to this. Right, Dom?
Wow, I did not know anyone dying from it.
Yeah,
You can die acutely.
Well, people. Well, he said sometimes, like if you read online, there's case studies. Some people will inject themselves with mercury to try to commit suicide. But also, too, there's actually studies you'll read where they use DMPS on ER patients like
I've
this.
seen those, but I didn't know it was suicides. They were injections. Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah. Wow. But also, too, like you just mentioned, a big part of mercury is also stored in the kidneys. So it causes scarring of the kidneys and breaks them down. Also in the heart as well. So, you may have a cardiovascular disaster, we'll call it, or whatever, or kidneys. And doctors may say it's kidneys or heart, not realizing or not even thinking.
Because it won't show up on blood work, right?
Nope, unless you test for it. And even then, it's going to show radiation exposure, not the body burden, but stored inside your muscles and organs.
Wow.
Exactly. Oh, I wanted to mention another thing though, Dom. I don't know if you probably heard of this, but did you know that the natural detoxification process for the inorganic mercury in the brain is actually the mercury somehow combines with selenium?
Yes.
You heard about that?
Yeah, so that's a very, very big thing as well, is that there are supplements that I have a whole stack I put together. There are supplements that can help take away the body burn and the damage that mercury does to the body. So like you said earlier, it dramatically reduces glutathione in the body, but also it's selenium. So a lot of people with mercury toxicity, mercury poisoning, get very low in selenium. So, months ago, I started taking 400, I believe it's micrograms a day of selenium. Now I'm down to 200. You want me to talk about the stack I'm on?
Yeah, sure. That would be very interesting. Just to mention to the audience, so I think the recommendations from governing bodies are 100 micrograms of selenium a day as an intake for men, and the max is usually 200 to 300. I assume that if you had mercury poisoning, you'd probably want to risk having a slightly higher selenium. The reason why, selenium, just for those that don't know, is associated with insulin resistance and diabetes. So that's why I don't supplement with it. But I think maybe people who eat fish should, just because. Yeah.
So that's a big question I see online is if you're eating fish, should you maybe take selenium with the meal, or cilantro, which is a natural chelator, or stuff like that?
Yeah, there are also those natural chelators.
Or chlorella, which is a binder. So if it gets released in the bloodstream and into your gut, at least it'll bind to it and go into your shit, your poop, and out, which is a main pathway for the mercury to leave your body.
Interesting.
So basically, after all my research, I seen that not only, aside from the chelators taking out the good minerals, mercury does really mess with your electrolytes and minerals big time. That's why I had a hard time staying hydrated. So also with the glutathione, I wanted to take in more sulfur compounds to raise glutathione in my body. So aside from the weekly IVs I get of glutathione, I take 2,800 milligrams a day of NAC. I take 6 grams of glycine.
Yeah.
That's for the sulfuric.
These are good doses. Those are what people should be using, not a gram of NAC. And glycine also has, another benefit. It'll slow down your nervous. I don't know if you ever noticed an antidepressant effect from glycine. Not an anxiety, like reducing anxiety or calming.
That's why I'll take my first dose when I wake up and my last dose before bed, because it does have a relaxing effect, and it's really good for gut health as well. You know
what that's from? The glycine, because there's actually receptors for glycine in the nervous system. They act similar to GABA. Glycine is inhibitory in the nervous system, so it can calm. So if those of you have anxiety or have a hard night sleeping, if you try 3 grams of taurine and 2 grams of taurine and 3 grams of glycine, taurine also binds to the same glycine receptors, and it's an antioxidant. So the two together sometimes will put somebody to sleep safely.
So I take, just real quick, NewMed Multimineral morning and night. I take 10 grams of vitamin C a day, split up throughout the day, because, again, vitamin C is one of the biggest fighters for mercury burden. I take 800 grams of vitamin E a day. Now I'm down to 200 mcgs of selenium a day, 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3, 4 grams of Wiley's fish oil a day. I'm on 6.
You should raise the fish oil. You should raise the EPA for sure. Because you're in a very inflammatory environment. EPA is the most effective single supplement at reducing inflammatory markers. But you need like a higher dose. I've noticed a major difference, bro, between using 4 grams and 8 grams. Major difference.
Well, it's fun. I mean, I didn't really look into the inflammatory effects of it, but even with fixing lipid panels, there was a big difference between 4 and 8 to 10 grams.
Really? Yeah. So the inflammatory effect is the most, other than the anti-platelet aggregation, like the clotting, those are the 2 most pronounced effects. EPA specifically.
That's the most of what I need of, because it's very inflammatory. Garlic pills, I take the Life Extension, 8 pills a day.
Wow. That's the best garlic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's intense. Does it hurt you when you take it? Do you ever burp or something and you're like, whoa, that was some potent garlic? There's no more potent garlic than Life Extension's one.
It's funny because my girlfriend thought I was a weirdo. I took it one day, I burped up. I'm like, oh, it kind of tastes good. Feels like I just ate pizza. She was like, what the fuck?
Bro, I tried to give it to my wife. Like she took it twice. The third time, look, I was giving her like a handful of pills. She pulled out this one. She's like, what is this? Why am I taking this? I was like, that's the garlic. She's, I'm not taking this one.
No, dude, that's in one of my blood pressure supplements. And when you put it in your mouth to swallow it, that shit, you smell it right away.
You tasted this thing.
It reminds me of pizza. I don't know why I'm a weirdo.
You're lucky. You have the Italian background. It reminds me of nothing except just a pungent taste.
And then AD Liver Plus, I take AD Tutka as well. Magnesium citrate, I take 1,000 milligrams before bed. I was taking 100 milligrams of zinc picolinate because mercury reduces zinc dramatically. So now I'm down to 30 milligrams a day. I take 5 grams of astragalus a day, for my kidneys, because it is a bit harsh on the kidneys, the chelator. And then 2 scoops of fiber before bed. And then, my other health subs. Like
how much Tudka?
Just a gram a day right now.
How much?
1 gram a day.
Oh shit. So that's a lot. Okay.
Well, so for the audience to know, Tudka and Udka, UDCA, which you can get from anabolic pharmacists, by the way, the real medicine version, both of those act similarly in studies. And the standard dose in the US for the only FDA-approved treatment for liver cirrhosis, which is Udka, is 500 milligrams twice a day. So you're using the exact dose, and they're very comparable. So you're using the standard dose. Boston, lower than 500 milligrams once a day is not a...
I see some. I use the one from Project AD, like the one that Dom uses. Is a really good one. They're 250 mgs per cap, I think. The one from there's one that they sell on Amazon that gets me a little they're weird. It's on the cheaper end, and for 2 capsules, it says it's 1.5 grams. I just don't know if some of these supplements are like, because they're not FDA. I wonder if it's even real. Some of them.
Oh, so that was a big problem with Tudka when it became popular years ago. Is first off, it's very expensive to make, and it's not easy for companies to really get. So, like, for instance, everybody's big with the Nutricost Tudka from Amazon. It's trash. Somebody tested it, and I forgot where the testing was, but it was garbage. So there is a very big, gap between good and shit Tudka. So there are a few good brands. 80 Tudka, that one's tested. Leviathan Tudka, that one's great. And that's the only really other ones I know have been tested now with blood work, but people, test the batches of it.
Are you using the 80 fiber?
Yeah, I take 2 scoops of that before bed.
Okay, I need to try that. I have it. I haven't opened it up yet. I want to try that one.
You'll like it because it's not like a gel like most fibers. It tastes great, and it works really good too.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I just want to mention really quickly, there was one supplement you were taking, which I wanted to comment on, but I forgot what it was. But the vitamin E, if you're getting a broad range vitamin E while you're in a highly oxidative state like you are, for example, vitamin E has been shown to increase lung cancer incidence when supplemented in smokers. So people with high oxidative states, it's vitamin E and A that sometimes worsen their condition of health. Now, I looked into why this happens. With vitamin E, for example, it happens quite prominently in the cardiovascular system. And it seems to happen in oxidative states. And it seems to happen when you have the full spectrum of vitamin E. You may have less risk with like gamma tocopherols. Like Carlson has a great product called E-Gems. But I wouldn't take the full vitamin E just now while you're going through that.
I'm taking, it's not the broad spectrum, whatever you want to call it. It's from, my friggin' brain. Designs for Health.
Okay, interesting.
Very good brand. It's just usually like medical offices sell it, or
it's a great product.
Doctor, it's not really sold in most stores, but that's what I'm taking. That's the gamma version of it.
Perfect.